Delich from TechRaptor. We're at TechWeek 2014 with some people from Rivet News Radio, Michael, Terry, and Sydney. We're going to talk a little bit about the app and what it can do, and just kind of find out a little bit more. So, can you, somebody, doesn't matter who, maybe tell us a little bit about the app and how it came to be?
Sure, I'll start it, and then you guys can add color commentary as we go. So, we started the company about 2 years ago, and the idea was there's no app out there taking advantage of all of the power of cloud computing, of learning algorithms, of things we see in music apps, of written news, text apps, those kinds of things. And so for audio news, there's no way to get a news feed that's the news you want when you want it, that you can skip to the next story, you can bookmark stories and share with friends. And so we really thought there's a need for that, and we spent about a year to figure out, well, how will we get the content? So we started text-to-speech, like can we take written articles and convert them to text? Is it something where we should stitch together a bunch of podcasts that already exist? And what we realized is we actually need to create our own content in order to have a seamless, curated experience where it's very listenable, it makes sense, you enjoy, it's very engaging, but you're also within 12 minutes getting all the news of the day. So all of our stories are about 40 to 90 seconds long, so you go from category to category of the categories you've selected, so business, lifestyle, politics, technology, and get those stories, and you don't get the ones you don't want. Like, I don't do crime support, so I'm not big on the so-and-so got arrested for that, but I know some of our people love that, and so they double down on that. So you get to pick what you want.
So, in a sense, it's a playlist of news, short, sweet. You're not wasting your time waiting for the traffic segment to get done. If you don't want to listen to it, you just move on, correct?
Exactly. The back end, so all of the audio stories have a significant amount of metadata attached to them. And so what we're able to do is, based on your location, we're able to serve you stories that are specific to you. In Chicago, we have local weather, local traffic, and local news. And then if you're outside of Chicago, we have national world news as well. It's a global app. It's applicable no matter where you are in the world. And the metadata that's attached to it, as Cindy was saying, depending on what categories you've selected, your playlist will be different than Cindy's playlist, and different than my playlist, based on the categories, and also based on the interests that you put in. So you could put in, like, if you were a Chicago Cubs fan, or if I were,
If you live that painful life.
it's kind of brutal. But you would be fed those stories, whereas I may not, because I'm a White Sox fan. So you get the stories based on what your interests are. And one of the things about where this company actually started from that we were talking about last week that's pretty cool is having a background in navigation. Almost everyone from the technology side, the business side, came from NavTech. Everyone figured out how to get people.
We're actually a bunch of data geeks. At the end of the day, we love data, and we love figuring out how to get you the data that serves your purposes, and you the data that serves your purposes.
So initially, we figured out at NavTech how to get you from A to B, but the journey from A to B was still very boring. And so what this is helping entertain you on your journey from A to B with the content that you want to hear.
Which is good, because I want to listen to the news most days, but I can't stand the radio.
Right. I think one of the things with radio is it's so constricting. Like you're stuck listening to a static feed, and there's pretty much, if you look at any other way that we consume media, nothing's static anymore. Everything is on demand when you need it, when you want it. Like, I don't know anyone who watches television anymore. I mean, everybody watches TV on the computer. You can Netflix or who does. So that's the idea behind this, is that you can get your news exactly when you want it and what you want.
In regular radio, your only choice is to change the channel.
Yeah.
Right? Here, your choice is skip, rewind 30 seconds, whatever.
Yeah, right.
And wait for 8s for traffic and weather, and so a lot of the stations have trained the listeners, and we're the opposite. We're letting the listeners get the content when they want it.
And teach us what to serve.
I don't want to retrain the consumer, give them a very tailored experience, which is, I wouldn't call it. You know, it's a great idea. And you were telling me earlier about people can call it, you have a call center essentially, like an add-on, instead of having to listen to the news, or the music, you can actually listen to some of your content.
Yeah, we have a deal in place that with one of the major conference services where while everyone's waiting for their call to start, they actually are able to hear something that's applicable to their daily life. And that's actually Michael's main job right now, is making sure that all the content that goes into that is applicable to the business audience and is that very small, chunkable type of news that will interest you while you're waiting for your 1:30 call to start. And it's 1:25.
So we curate a lot of news that is geared towards, for this particular platform, we curate a lot of news that's applicable to a business. So it's a lot of really short, simple stories that talk about what's new in technology, what's new in business, what's new in anything that might seem relevant to the audience that we're targeting. We create a lot of content each day, like Cindy and Terry mentioned, a lot of really short content. It's short, simple, and it's relevant.
So now, obviously you have United States wide news. Do you do local news too? Is it just Chicago?
So right now since we're headquartered in Chicago, we started here, we're doing a lot of the testing in Chicago, but the way the app is set up, you can put your locality for any area and we can do local news there, and we're actually this week or next week starting with weather for the top 50 markets in the United States. So you'll be able to get your local weather. It's a beta test program we're doing. Not everyone that has the app that has that, but we have a few listeners across the country that we're doing that with, and once we get the bugs out of that, which are a few bugs, then we'll go live with that as a nationwide service too. So we're rolling out local coverage kind of as quickly as we can that makes sense.
Yeah. So over time, obviously, as you guys grow, a lot of people will be able to say they're in a small town. I'm from Indianapolis, so let's say Indianapolis. I could have tailored Indianapolis news to something like that. You guys obviously expand it out there.
And we're getting to the point where, in addition to the partners that we have, that they send their content to us and we put it in the app, that there will be the ability for approved content suppliers. For example, I don't know if there's a paper in Indianapolis. I'm assuming there's
Indianapolis Star.
Indianapolis Star, for example. If they become an approved content provider for us, they would be able to put their content in, and then the only people who would hear that are either ones who have that as an interest, or if it's local content based on where you physically are.
If you have your GPS on in the phone, and we can.
And this is one of the cool things that we totally unexpectedly found out when we launched the app, is that people all over the world are listeners. We have users tons of users in Turkey and Saudi Arabia and China.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of people from the expat community, they don't have an easy way to just get that news stream. Yeah. And so this is an amazing product for anyone who is living overseas who wants access to U.S. news and world news too, which ones that news paper.
But that's one of the reasons we're not just doing it where you are, because if you were spending time in Saudi Arabia, you still might want Indianapolis news.
Yeah.
And so we want you to be able to say Indianapolis and where I currently am, so that you can select your home city, and it's also where your GPS tells us you are. So we kind of let both ways to pick what's local to me. Because what local to you isn't necessarily where you're sitting right now. It's where you're from, where,
Exactly.
what
So
teams
if
do you
you're
root
traveling
for.
for business, sit on the plane. That's awesome. Is there anything else you guys want to tell our viewers?
Download the app. Download the radio.
It's free. It's been on the iOS since December, and we're coming with Android by the end of the summer. So that's a big step forward for us. Obviously, the market doubles in size, and everyone now can hear our app, like you.
I'll be downloading it after this. So thanks for talking with us. Obviously, we can have our users download the app. We'll put a link up on the YouTube page. Just stay tuned for more TechWeek coverage on our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and website.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.